from Idaho. I strive to provide interesting videos about motorcycles, fabrication, welding, electronics, machining, and general creativity. I hope you enjoy.
Hello from Idaho. We've got a beautiful October day. Sorry about the chainsaw noise in the background. People are getting their trees trimmed up. Well, I'm back on the Jeep Cherokee XJ. These are an amazing vehicle. They do a lot of things great, but like all vehicles, they've got one or two little details that could be better. One of those for the Jeep is that the under hood temperatures get pretty high. This thing was originally designed for a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder, and then a few years in they put a 4 liter inline 6, and it fits okay. It's kind of tight front to back, and there's not very much room for a radiator. And the under hood temperatures get pretty warm, and so they have problems like heat soak, which is the term they use to say that there's enough heat under the hood that it causes vapor lock in the fuel rail and some other problems. This particular Jeep doesn't seem to have overheating problems. When I got it, it didn't have a fan shroud on it, and it's got a small drip out of the radiator, which means the radiator never gets pressurized. And still, in 105 degree weather with the air conditioner on, I don't have any overheating problems. But trail conditions are a little bit different. You're doing 1,000 RPM in 4 low, and so you got no airflow through the radiator because of the mechanical fan, nearly none. There is an electrical fan that turns on at a certain temperature, and that helps quite a bit. At any rate, getting heat out from underneath the hood is a good thing, and there have been several solutions over the years. A lot of people put hood vents in. Big ones, little ones, some that cover almost the whole hood. Some people put a spacer underneath the hinge, and that gives you an inch or so of air gap for the hood, because the hood doesn't close in the back now, and that lets the heat out. Those two solutions have other problems that come with them. They let rain and snow in on the engine, and eventually that causes problems. And so an actual hood scoop might be the solution, and I'm hoping it is. And by scoop, in this case, I mean a cowl opening scoop. I've searched the internet high and low and found nearly nothing that I liked. So it's got to be personal preference, whatever looks appropriate. It's got to be big, it's got to have a fairly big opening, and it's got to fit the hood, because nobody makes a scoop just for the XJ, so you have to buy a universal fit. And so I found something that I think I like. Go on something like this. And so the opening is in the back. It's got a wide flange on the inside. It's got a wide flange on the inside. so I can bolt it down. You can see I've already marked out a series of holes. It comes from a company called Unlimited Racing Fiberglass. And it's pretty nicely done. And so the plan is to drill these holes out and use epoxy to hold a nut on the back. You know, it'll be a weld-on nut, basically something with a big surface. And so I've purchased those stainless steel weld-on nuts and a bunch of 5-minute epoxy, and I'll put them in there. Then I'm going to make a whole bunch of trammel points, which will screw into the holes and give me a small center punch sticking out. Just a little short piece of all thread. And so I'll have to make one for each place. Then I can set this down on a big piece of cardboard and press it down and get a drilling pattern for the hood. So we'll put the drilling pattern on the hood and drill all these holes. Anyway, it's going to go on here something like this. But we still have an issue, or I still have an issue, with this opening allowing rain and snow into the engine compartment, because I will cut out most of the sheet metal underneath here. Anyway, you see all these scratches here? It didn't come that way. I was putting it on my Jeep, see how I liked it, find a position I liked, and then I went in for lunch, and then I had to run an errand. And so I drove around with this on the hood of the Jeep for a while until I got up to about 25 miles an hour, and then it lifted up and went down and went underneath the Jeep, and it slid across the asphalt and gave me that nice crosshatch pattern. But I'm going to paint it anyway. In fact, I hope to be able to paint the vent, or the scoop, and the hood at the same time before the snow flies, because I don't have an indoor space where I could do it. I might be able to do it in my shop. We'll have to see how that works. At any rate, this is the beginning of that project. And we'll see how it turns out. I've never done this before. Okay, we're back in the shop. Time to drill some holes in the hood. As I showed you before, I've got 16 holes marked out along the edge of this hood. It has a flat surface on the edge that allows you to mount it. If it all works out and I get a wild hair, I may fiberglass it into the hood, but for right now the plan is to bolt it down. So I've got each one of these center punched, and I'm going to drill the original pilot hole with 1/16 inch. There's a movie reference that goes something like this: aim small, miss small. Well, the smaller the first hole, the less likely it is to be way off the location that you wanted it. And so I very often drill small holes and then make them bigger. Okay, that's my little holes. Now I'm going to make a little bit bigger than quarter. My weld nuts are 1/4 inch, and I've got these stainless button head stainless screws, so they will go in there. The weld nut will go on the inside and be epoxied down. I've got a bunch of 5-minute epoxy that I will epoxy a weld nut inside every location. Okay, so far so good. Now we need to make some, I think they're called trammel points. Okay, we're about to make some trammel points. Got a little bit of an unusual setup here. I've got my compound set at about 45 degrees, and we'll use it to make the cuts, and then we'll use the cross slide to advance the cuts. This is all thread, so it's grade 2 steel, which is not that great. And as you probably know, the better the steel, the better it machines, for the most part, unless you get up into hardened steels. Anyway, it kind of comes off in clumps instead of chips. But this is not a high-speed, low-drag operation, so I'm sure they'll be able to pierce cardboard. I got 17 of these to do. I need 16, but I always cut an extra one or two. But I've already lost one, so now I'm down to 17. Anyway, we just keep sneaking up on it until it ends up in a point. Okay, then we'll smooth the thread lead in, because I need to screw a nut on here. And take a look and see if I actually have a point. Yeah, very good. One down, 16 to go. I'm not going to bore you with the other 16, but basically here's what we're shooting for. Just a little trammel point. And so I'll put a nut on it, and the weld-on nut on the back, tighten it up, and so it'll stick up a little bit past the fiberglass hood, and then when I push it into the cardboard, I'll know exactly where that hole is located. Okay, I'm putting in my trammel points. I've got a nut on the trammel point so that the point will stick up just a little bit. Put my weld nut on the bottom. Okay, so now we've got all 16 of those on. I got a piece of cardboard. It's not quite big enough. This direction. Maybe I should check it this way. Oh yeah, that'll work. Hot dang. So we'll align I use these edges up here to align with the hood. So I'm going to align those with the edge of the cardboard. Okay, that's even. Now I'm going to mark the perimeter. Because I'm going to cut this out. And I've already marked the hood, so I will be able to align the cardboard with the hood when I cut this out. Alright, there we go. Now I should be able to just push down on this and mark all 16 hole locations. I can hear it crunching into the cardboard a little bit. There may be a better way to do this, but I don't know what it is. Okay, let's try number one. Let's see how it worked. So I have very distinct holes in my cardboard. Hot damn. Yeah, that's outstanding. So I should be able to drill through those and then place it on the hood and mark the hood. This may be working out pretty good. That one was kind of light, but I can still see it. All right. Now I get to use my industrial strength scissors. All right. Well, in the beginning I said I was working on this project because my outside painting days were numbered. Well, it didn't even get up to 60 today, and it's raining pretty good. So, all right, there's my template, my drilling template. I'm going to okay. So I'm going to measure hole to hole and make sure that this turned out right. These things are a little bit angled, and so I'm at 37 1/4, which means I'm really at 27 1/4. But I'll cut 10 inches off of this one as well. And so I'm at 37 1/4. All right, I'm happy with that. I think that's going to be great. If it weren't raining, I'd take this out and put it on the hood and drill some holes. So I'm going to drill this cardboard out so that it will accept a silver Sharpie down through it, so that when I put it on the hood, I'll be able to mark the hood and drill it out. Okay, it's time to mark the hood with some drilling marks. So here's my template that we made the other day. We'll just tape it down over the Sharpie marks I made on the hood at the beginning of this project. The front and back, right? Alright, so I've got the edges lined at the top, which is the back of the hood, which is where I set my scoop. And then all we have to do now is to run a Sharpie down through the holes to mark the hood. Just put it in the hole and turn 16 times. I won't bore you with the rest of it. Then we'll center punch and do pilot holes, and then there's structure in the back here about 5 inches, and there's structure up here for the hood latch, and there's some in the middle. And so I'm going to drill shallow holes first, and then I'll sneak up on the structure just so I don't drill into anything in the engine bay. Okay, I took in all the parts that are going to get wet, like the cardboard and whatnot, and my camera's waterproof, so I'm just going to let it sprinkle on me. I built a little drill stop, just a piece of 3/8 inch dowel. It works much better than the kind that you clamp onto the drill bit. This will keep me from going too deep and puncturing something important underneath. And like normal, this is just a pilot hole. Makes it easy to drill and easy to fix if you screw it up. So the next step is to drill out the structure so I have a place to put a bolt in from the bottom. And I'm going to use a hole saw, which creates thousands of sharp little shards of metal that I don't really want to go in the engine bay. Probably wouldn't hurt anything, but they're certainly not going to do any good. So a little ground cloth will fix that. So I've got a hole saw. I said it was going to use 1/2 inch, but it turns out I don't have a 1/2 inch, and the local hardware stores don't go down that small. So I'm going to use 3/4. It'll do the same thing. I've shortened up the pilot drill a little bit so that I will not drill into the hood with the pilot build, just the pilot bit, just the structure with the hole saw. This hole is a little bit on a rounded corner. Okay, I can see in there and see my See my pilot hole. So that's a good hole. I will take a Dremel and clean that up. But anyway, that's basically how it's going to go for the rest. Okay, as you recall, I've already got all the holes drilled in the hood for my hold down screws. Right now I'm marking out the piece of metal to be cut out of the hood. Just basically an inch away from every hole. Then I'll connect all the dots and make a measure out a way to cut the corners out with a hole saw so they're nice and round. Okay, so this big piece right here is going to disappear. So I've got a few hole saws. I'm thinking maybe 3 inches in the corner. See what this one says. Yeah. Doesn't say diddly squat. But that is a 3-inch. So I will mark out a spot for a 3-inch hole saw. So we will set our compass for 1.5 inches. And then we'll find 1.5 inches from this line. And 1.5 inches from this line. Now we get to make some holes. So it's been a while since I've laid out these lines, so I want to double check and see where these holes are going to go. So this is the end hole. This one's easier to measure. I have about 3 3/8 to the structure. Three and 3/8 is at least 1 inch away from where I'm going to be drilling. So I think we're good. Make a nice little center punch here. I got some of the inexpensive center punches, but when you really need a dent, you need to get out your Starrett. Okay, that one fell through and landed on the ground. Okay, that's the beginning of the hood cuts. Now I'll have nice round corners in the edges, just like uptown. Okay, we passed the point of no return a few squares back, so I'm gonna take my trusty cutoff wheel and get rid of this piece here. I've got structure to deal with under here, right across there, and then there's structure here and here. Should be a clean cut in the back. So I'm just going to take long, shallow cuts. Okay, we got her loose. Okay, it's loose, but the structure is also adhered to the back of the panel, so we're going to have to break that loose. It's probably be better on the back side if I could, so I could see what I was doing. Now you can see all those globs of adhesive they put on there to keep it from rattling. Never used this Eastwood spray-on rust encapsulator before. The stuff I've used before is that stuff you paint on with a paintbrush, the POR stuff, and it's great. But we'll give this a try. Okay. We'll let that dry, get another coat on it, and then we'll do some black on the hood. Okay, we're back on the hood and the hood scoop project. I want to paint the hood first, and hence I need the scoop on it so that I can see what I really like for the Jeep in respect to colors. Here's what I'm thinking. Here is International Harvester Red, and then 7-to-1 International Harvester Red to black, and then 9-to-1 International Harvester Red to black, and this is 10-to-1. And here is 10-to-1, 12-to-1, 14-to-1, 16-to-1, 18-to-1, and 20-to-1. And they're all lighter shades of maroon, tending towards red, because when you mix black and red together, you get maroon. And I haven't picked one yet. My neighbor likes this one, and I kind of do too. In fact, I like all of them. And he said to me something interesting, which I think is positive. He says, any of those would be great, you'll love it, just have to pick one. So anyway, now back onto the hood. Okay, the hood's going to be held on by these little things, as you know. Basically a little T-nut with a 3D printed holder. And so I have been very carefully, well, first I took alcohol, cleaned the inside rim very good, and now I'm putting a coat of 5-minute epoxy. In fact, I probably talked too much. Now my epoxy is beginning to get a little less pliable. And then we take a nut, a bolt, and bolt it up through here. Get it square on the back. Tighten it down to a predetermined torque. And move on to the next one. Well, I got 16 of them to do, and I'll have to mix up another batch of epoxy after this one. But anyway, you get the idea. I'm not gonna bore you with all 16. But these are how the hood scoop is held down to the hood, and I've already got the hood drilled to match these patterns. So I'm making a little progress. These make it so that when I put this on, I don't have to try to hold a bolt and a washer in this space. And I've got my drill driver set on ratcheting number 1, which is just light hand tight. And I like to get them square, even though it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to continue with this, and I'll bring you back in when there's something better to see. Okay, I've got a piece of 1 1/4, maybe 1 1/2 square tubing with a 3/16 inch wall, 1 1/2, yep. And I put 2-inch graduations on this, and so I should be able to use this to bend with. Just get a little bend at each spot, and I'll probably end up being overbent. Okay, I'm about a 1/2 inch high. Okay, there's kind of where we are on the hood scoop. This is going to end up being a 2-part video. I'm already at over 35 minutes of time, and I can shrink that a little bit, but I just want to finish this little piece. So the contour of the hood is not a lot, but there is some from corner to corner it's like 3/8 of an inch. And so these wings here on the hood scoop are flexible, and they will pull down to the hood, which is great. It makes it fit great. But I need it pulled down into the right shape when I put the water dam in here. So the water dam is going to be basically a piece of what we would normally call angle iron, except it's made out of fiberglass, so it's angle structure. And this piece is 3/4 by 3/4, but what I've got coming and what is the sore spot in my side is 1 inch by 3/4. At any rate, we'll cut it out, cut it so that it slides in and seals against the edge of the hood, and then runs all the way across. Actually, it'll be like this, where the angle is towards the opening, and then it goes all the way across and seals against the opening. And so there'll be 1 inch of water dam, and then there'll be plenty of space for air to go over it. And then I will drill and tap the angle iron for a fitting and put a hose on it so that any water that gets collected in here will be run down out of the engine compartment without getting on any of the metal or the electronics, the air conditioning or whatever. And so I've got these two pieces contoured and a flat bar in between. So this section right here is, I'm forcing the hood scoop to be the same shape as the hood of the Jeep. And so when I put this piece in here and I epoxy these corners in here, it'll be at the right angle. And then I'll run a bar across here and force this down. In fact, I'll probably end up contouring this piece to the hood as well. But anyway, that's where I am, and that's where I'm headed. It rained like the dickens last night. Of course, I got a big hole in the hood, and so I had to cover it up. I think that's a little bit of Mother Nature's irony. So this is the end of part 1. Stand by for part 2, because I'm going to continue to work on this until it's finished. Because when I paint the Jeep, I'm going to learn how to use this Rust-Oleum farm implement paint. I'm going to learn how to use it on the hood. And I may end up stripping it and painting it a half a dozen times. I don't know. I've been running, as you know, I've been running those test swatches with red and black, and so I have this black here. I've got a gallon of red coming, and after all of the test swatches and testing the internet and testing my neighbors and doing some soul searching, I painted half the hood maroon and half the hood red, and I'll insert a picture right here. And drove it around for a few days, so I can see it when I'm driving. I can see it when I walk up to the Jeep and when I walk away from the Jeep. And I guess I'm just a red guy. I like red, and so it's going to end up being red. I won't have to mix any black with it. That'll make things a little less complicated. There's several really good videos on the internet of how to use this Rust-Oleum farm implement paint on cars without a booth and without a spray gun. You can actually roll it on or paint it on with a paintbrush. And so I'm going to give that a shot. The Jeep's 26 years old, and the paint, at least the clear coat in the 90s really stank. And so I've got lots of places where the clear coat's completely gone, or it looks like it's got leprosy or whatever. And so the hood has to be finished up and mounted before I start painting the hood. And so that'll be the next step. I owe you guys probably a walk around on the Jeep now. Over the course of the last couple of months, I put a 3.5 inch lift on it, some 33 inch tires, some really nice aluminum wheels that I got out of a wrecking yard, and it's beginning to look like a proper off-road vehicle now. And so anyway, that may be a coming video as well. So for now, I'm going to stop rambling and say goodbye from Idaho. As usual,
If you like or dislike my video, please select the appropriate button and let me know why. I really appreciate comments and I will answer every one. If you're new to my videos, please select the subscribe and the notification bell to get more videos like this.